Alright guys, another tutorial. I'm gonna try and build off of the previous Vscripting tutorial I did. Just to add a few things from what I've learned. If you watched my not quite working video 8, you've probably already seen this stuff before, so this time I'm gonna go a little into it, actually write it down instead of babbling through it as much. Okay, so startup hammer, and if you have the previous map from my previous tutorial, open that up. If you don't, try and catch on as best you can, or go watch the tutorial, then come here. There's really not much to it, so you don't need to watch the previous video. Alright, so here we have, well, the map in the previous video. There's a prop button and sprite, and the only input-output is from the button to itself. Now, first thing I want to do here is remove this. And to do that, I'm going to take a page from Not Working 8 when I found out you can use this line of code here called self.connectOutput. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy these two lines from here so I don't have to type it all in. There's really not much to type here. So we have self, which is the entity hosting the script, .connectOutput, which means, well, link the following output to the following line of code, or the following function, excuse me. And the syntax stuff. What you put in here in the first parameter is the output you want to connect. So that output is the entity output, so in this case onPressed. And for the second parameter, you want to enter in the name of the function. In this case, showSprite. And bottom here, I'm going to put hideSprite. Note, I'm not putting any parentheses in. No parens whatsoever, so just the name. Squirrel will take care of the rest of it. Or, yeah, actually the implementation of Squirrel, I should say, will take care of the rest of that. So I'm going to save that and delete these. Compile the map. Alright, so let me clear this to 3. Press the button, it turns on, and doesn't turn off. Awesome. Because, as I just remembered, prop button and prop floor button, which this button script was intended for, use a different output for when they're not pressed anymore. Prop button is on button reset. Prop floor button is on unpressed. And yet it was staring me right in the face too. Alright, so let's try that again. There we go. Alright, and if we look at the input-output here, the button is used, it calls its own script function, and executes. But in Hammer, there is no entity input-output at all. Handy. Though, in larger systems, debugging this is going to be fun. And you can't tell where the I/O is coming from. Alright, so next thing on the list, I was having some problems with firing outputs or doing entity fire commands on entities without a name. And I can get their entity, but I couldn't get their name. An easy example of this is the player. The player doesn't have a name. In single player, it doesn't have a name. So, if I go ahead and open the script up, so I think so a lot. And here, I'm going to have this print to the console the activator. You may recognize this from the target name !activator, which is used in I/O, in Hammer, and in the console. But in scroll scripting, you omit the exclamation point, and it works perfectly fine. You can do the same with color, self, and whatnot. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and look at the output from this. So the button was pressed here, and there it is. Entity number 1, the player. So this number 1 in here is the entity index. There's probably a command in here for listing those or finding them. But see, last time I went through this, I managed to crash the game a few times, and some of the commands didn't even work because I'm not a developer. Clearly, you need to be a developer to use these some of these commands. Oh. Anyways, if I were to say, okay, EntFire activator, ignite, yeah, that's a valid command. Okay, this kind of makes sense. Let's take the activator, aka the player, and ignite him or her. So, compile, hop on in to Portal 2, press the button, and there we go. EntFire does not exist. Okay, so I did a lowercase f. Fine, I'll fix that. Maybe case sensitive, may not be. Press it again, and nothing happened. Okay, so we fixed one error, lowercase f. So EntFire is case sensitive. Got it. But I'm not on fire. And if we look here, unhandled input, ignite to 1 player from prop button, target entity not found, because it's searching for open square bracket 1, close square bracket, space, player. That string is what it's searching for. No, not good. So, the player doesn't have a name, so I can't really do the name EntFire, the name, get name, player.get name, and then do that. Because, frankly, they don't have one. But, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. And here we go. Unhandled input, ignite, is being sent to an entity with the name of null. It looks like a big 0 because that's an open and closed paren right next to each other, and in that font and at that scale and font size, it looks like a continuous circle. So that's not going to work. I was browsing the VDC for scripting, and as I had highlighted here, there is a way to reference entities that don't have target names. And right here, it is called do EntFire. And it tacks on another parameter called ent, which up here is, in this script, an entity of class prop physics. Now if I go over into the list of Portal 2 script functions, do EntFire is not listed. Okay, that's alright, because it does still work. So, go back over here, and I'm just going to do a straight copy-paste. Also adds another null here. I have no idea what that is, and if I go to Vscript here and see here. Do EntFire is not listed here, along with a whole bunch of other classes. So the documentation for Left 4 Dead 2 and Vscripting is lacking. Well, target action value delay activator. Activator may be the null, but that doesn't quite make any sense to me. Anyways, we have, see here, ignite. So here, ignite and activator. Paste that in. So this line here is, I'll comment that out, no longer valid because it doesn't work. So now instead I have do EntFire, and notice here in the string I have exclamation mark self, the target name self. So I'm going to tell the player to ignite himself. Alright, let's go ahead and compile this. Well, no, you don't always have to restart the machine recompile the map to get the scripts working. I think you can reset the script or set it to run the same script using the run script file instead of run script code. But I just like doing the recompile just to purge everything and start from scratch again. Do that and press the button, and I am now on fire. But since Portal 2 has well, you're pretty much invincible in Portal 2 unless you get crushed or take a load of damage. So you have really high health regen. So this flame is not going to kill you. No, it just provides a nice trail effect. So that's how you can reference or send a EntFire output to an entity that does not have a name. And as you saw in the Left 4 Dead 2 script on the Valve developer community, you can find entities whichever way you want, either en masse and loop through them, or get a little more specific by using, here on the Portal 2 script functions, anything like find by class name or class nearest, within, model, name nearest, using these, the finds, to do that. I haven't tried to create by class name yet, but maybe later. So that's how you can do that. And next up, I am going to actually create a weighted cube. And a floor button. Okay. So, one thing before I start doing this, here, so in entity scripts on this prop weighted cube, I'm going to manage, and I'm going to add a script, one of my own scripts. So, actually, yeah, I'm going to add the regular script. Why not? I'll just write this all down so you guys can see what I'm typing, instead of just trusting that it works and not having a clue on what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to use testscript2.nut. This is a blank script, so no need to worry about it. As you can see, there is nothing in it. So I'm going to add a function, print me. Yeah, why not? And I'm going to just print a line, self. Okay, now back in test script, I'm going to give it a function. Actually, I'm going to call it print this. Actually, no, I'm going to overload it. Print me. Let's see here. I'm going to have this print something else. Just a static string. Printed. Okay. So, as you can see, there is one script in here. However, you can add multiple scripts. So, if I were to add the first test script here, it would list each script respectively, space and space. Alright, cool. Now, I'm going to just, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to give this a name. And on this button, when it's pressed, if I run a script code, print me. Compile this, hop on in. Let's see here. Time is up 15 minutes and 30 some odd seconds. Go ahead and clear the console. Oops. There we go. Alright, so let's see here. Printed came in first. Alright. Now I'm going to rename this. Print other. Alright, and go over here and compile into the map. Clear. Okay. Cool. Well, other than a massive oops right there, let's try that again. Copy, delete. I should probably explain what I'm doing. I have, as you see, two entities going on, and both of them have a function called print me. I want to show you actually which one comes in first, and whether or not both are fired. And as you see here, as when I had the error, the first one to go was printed. So, printed is in test script. If we go back to the cube, test script is the last entity, or last script added to the entity. So if I were to change the order here, recompile the map, it prints from the other script. So entity index 10, class, prop-weighted cube, name, cube. So that's where the name would show up, just so you know. Down here where I'm trying to highlight, but it's not quite working. So whatever is the last script, that is the function that's where the engine's going to search for the function, in the last script. Now, what if I rename it? So let's see here. It says script 2. I'm going to rename this to print other. And do what I was going to do before. So I print me and print other. And before I hit that button, clear. There you go, printed, and then print by the cube. Prop by the cube, print by the cube. So test script went first, and then the other script was then called. So you can have multiple scripts assigned to an entity or object and have them pull from there, and whatever the last script added was, or last script on the list is, that is where all the function searches are going to start. And from there it's going to go from the last one to the next to last, and so on and so forth, just all the way up till you get to the first script added. Kind of useful. And the last thing I want to do is actually reference one of my own scripts. Let's see here. Angle transfer. And what I want to do is print angles. Good. So during runtime, you can change what script the script file, the cube or entity run, an entity run. So some sequence of events happen and you want to switch the script assigned to an entity in the map. So in here, oops, there we go. You put the name of the script and its path relative to the script's folder. So if I tell the cube right now to run the script code, oops, there we go, print me, it'll do it. But if I step on this button and execute the command again, it still executes it. But now, if I, let's see here, print angles, there it goes. It is now printing the angles. So it didn't replace the script, it just keeps it going. Sorry, step off the button here, print me again, and then, what is it, print other, I called it? Printed. So it just tacks on to it, which could be a problem if you change the scripts way too much. So you can't replace the script, but you can add to the list of scripts. I think I said replace earlier in the tutorial. I apologize for that if I did. So you can just keep doing that. You can't add multiple scripts, or at least it wouldn't let me add multiple scripts at a time when doing run script file. So another script I could add variable passing. Yeah, why not? Is there something I can do in here? Set random color. Yes. So I'm going to enter the name of that script in. Okay. And compile the map. Hop on in. And there's the error right there. So scripts, Vscripts, random, angle transfer.nut. It doesn't get it. And you notice the second entry here, my variable passing entry, does not get the full script, the full path from the scripts folder. Only the first parameter does, not the second parameter. Don't know why that's the case, but then again I don't know the actual, well, implementation of Squirrel. So, there's that. You can only add one at a time and it keeps tacking on to the list of files the entity has access to, or can run code from. And, okay, yet one more thing I want to show you is, if you look up here, I have two entities in the map that run scripts, the button and the cube. And you notice they, at map spawn, they call themselves. Actually, before map spawn, they call themselves. And specifically, they call dispatch on post spawn. This is right after the entities themselves are created or spawned, and before the map is spawned. So I'm going to show you this. First, I'm going to copy this. I want to copy only the name, but it's okay. And I'm going to add a logic auto to the map. So on map spawn, I'm going to run a script code. And I'm going to put this code in test script 2. Function prints time. What I want to show you is the delay between the entity spawn and the map spawn. So you can fiddle around with stuff before the map is instantiated, or is spawned, and then the game begins. So in here I'm going to have a print line and use the time function. which again is it is listed on the script functions, but you have to use time and open and close paren. Using time itself gives you a reference pointer, so you get a hex address to the function. Yeah. Anyways, next I'm gonna add. Well, first I'm going to splice this thing together so it copy. Yeah. There we go. So now, function. I'm gonna have to do the same thing. Now I could just put the name of the method print time in here, but nah, I'm just gonna do this. Now let's copy this, save. Parameter for logic auto, go ahead and paste print time in it. And I'm going to clear the console. Erase the second entry here from the output. Not going to step on the button, don't need to. Game start. Okay. So right up here, the queue calls the function dispatch on post spawn, and as we put here, dispatch on post spawn prints the time. So the time here is 1.043s. 43s, not 43. So 4 times. I'm going to assume this is in seconds, and would actually make sense because if you look down here. Print time prints out 2.16 repeating. Rounded up to 7, so it doesn't keep repeating. So there is about a second delay between entity spawning and the map spawning. Not really sure what you could do with this. I just found out about this about 40 minutes ago at time of recording. So, something to play with. And let's see, the current time I'm probably running up on, 27 and a half, almost. So, with that, that's a little more about Vscripting. I'm putting this up as I find out about it, so you're learning as I'm learning. Well, hopefully. And with that, I'm going to actually close out of some of these applications and then quit the desktop capture, because if I hit it again, it's going to start recording Hammer and Portal 2. Yeah, I'm using Afterburner to record all this stuff, so it hooks into direct 3D calls, or direct, yeah, I guess DirectX calls probably be more appropriate. So if you have any questions about this, go ahead and post comments, send me a PM, let me know. And if I can help you, great. If you find something out, please let me know. Well, I should probably be a little more specific. If you find stuff out, you can find anything out, let me know, and that may not be what I mean. So if you figure out stuff like what you could do in that small time gap between entity spawning and map spawning, let me know. In Left 4 Dead 2, you probably do stuff like change director options, or spawns. Or actually there was an example of changing the witch movement type, whether she's sitting or walking. So, you could do stuff like that. Not quite sure what you could do in Portal 2. Not really that NPC driven. But, let's see. Alright, see you next time.